It's the Score North Twin Show. Baseball!
All right, welcome to the Score North Twin Show here. For those of you that maybe are just Twins fans and haven't followed our Purple Daily content over the last few days, a major shout out to our guy, Declan Goff, the centerpiece of the Score North Twin Show, and his wife, Kelsey, for welcoming their first child into the world just in time to see the Twins play spoiler on Sunday against the Cleveland Guardians, spoiling a 10-game winning streak, preventing them from hopping into first place. Sonny, it's a great baseball name. Sonny Joseph Goff. Sonny Goff taking
That's
the
a
rubber
fantastic baseball name.
later on in life. Yeah. So shout out to them. So yeah, Dex is going to be scaling way back here in the next few weeks, just, being a dad for the first time. You may see him pop in once or twice here on the Score North Twin Show, but we will land the 2025 Twin Show season plane here into the offseason with our own flair on things here. But before we get into a modified version of State of the Twins, Judd, shout out to Grandpa's Barbecue on behalf of our guy Dex.
Exactly right. In fact, guess what? I want you to discover the taste of tradition with Grandpa's Original Barbecue Sauce. We're talking handcrafted, high-quality sauces, spices, and rubs from Sweet Barbecue, Mill City Steakhouse Blend, Northwoods All-Purpose Blend, Northern Buffalo. Are you interested? Go to grandpasbbqshop.com to see the variety. And here's an offer for those of you who are consuming our Twin Show. Get $50 free shipping on orders $50 or more. That's grandpasbbqshop.com. Plus, you can find them locally in the Twin Cities at numerous Fratelloni locations. So check them out again. That's grandpa's, plural, bbqshop.com to place your order.
So I got to be honest with you. We are so tied up in Vikings vent line and Vikings postgame. I was not able to put together the overview, but I can tell you that there is a 0% chance of the Twins making the playoffs.
This is not acceptable. What do you mean you didn't have time?
0% chance of Twins making the playoffs.
Yep.
And I would say there is a greater than 0% chance of somebody being held accountable for this mess, but who knows? I saw our guy Royce, he was tweeting over the weekend. He does think that because Falvey and Joe Polat are very close, he does think that Rocco officially takes the fall. And he actually floated Mike Napoli as a name, who's on Terry Francona's staff in Philly, former catcher.
Royce, just stealthily tweeting.
Recklessly speculating on
Wow,
Napoli.
Patrick.
But let's do two categories here. Do you want to do favorite current Twins thing or least favorite current Twins thing to start the State of the Twins?
Oh boy,
I feel like we should start your own event.
I feel like we should start with least. And I mean, where do you end here? I'm going to go with this one though, and it's my least favorite Twins thing. But I also think it's a interesting story that developed post game yesterday. So that was obviously the home finale, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but Royce Lewis, who had a pinch hit home run, talked openly about not knowing if he was going to be back next season already.
Do you think that's wishful thinking?
I don't know.
Front, or do you think there's some actual speculation?
But his direct quote was, "You never know if it's going to be your last at bat here or what. You never know." And then in the story it says, "Does the top overall draft pick expect to be traded over the winter?" That's the question. The direct quote was, "It has crossed my mind, but we don't know what direction the team plans to take. I can't control anything." And he's not wrong. But here's the interesting thing is, okay, if you trade him, are you trading him because you're disappointed that he's gotten hurt? Are you trading him because you're disappointed with his progress, which, by the way, is partially on you? Or are you trading him because you just decided you don't like him? Like, I'm sorry.
Also on you, by the way.
Yes.
Because there's been plenty of malcontent 100%. Superstars in sports.
100%.
And you find a way to connect with them.
But my least favorite thing, and this is not going to be a new discussion, but I think with Royce actually throwing it out there publicly, because we have heard behind the scenes he's not thrilled. I don't blame him one bit. But I mean, this is him publicly basically saying, I don't know if I'm going to be back. Well, first of all, it ain't contractual because he's not even at this point, I don't believe, arbitration eligible. So this is all about his personality or his relationship with the team. And okay, I think there's a good chance, not a good chance. I think there's a real chance that Pablo is gone or Joe Ryan is gone. Ryan is arbitration eligible. Pablo has an existing contract, and we all know that the Twins are basically saying, "Hey, we're not doing great financially." But if they're going to explore trading Royce Lewis at this point in time,
dude,
like, what are we? I hate to say this because it's a rhetorical question, and I've bashed the Twins before, and they deserve every bit of the bashing. But what are we doing here if a guy who should be a staple of your future, who, by the way, is not breaking the bank in any way, what are we doing here if he's not sure if he's going to be back and thinks there's a chance that he's gone? Like, at this point, board it up.
Yeah. I agree. And again, it's hard to fully rip them for a hypothetical that has not happened yet. But my instinct is to criticize them for the idea that they might trade Royce Lewis. And I feel like I'm going to draw a line because they might be seeing those quotes from the front office and ownership level and thinking there's no chance we would sell for 50 cents on the dollar for an underperforming former top overall pick. And it's Royce just making noise because maybe he would like to get out of the organization based on the way things have been going. But here's the thing, Judd. We've been talking about this since the day that they traded 40% of their active roster and then followed up a week or two later with the, hey, we're not going to sell the team announcement that drew major backlash from fans. In the absence of true leadership and communication and keeping your people informed, this is what happens. The clubhouse has no idea what's going to happen this winter or what's happening with the ownership situation, unless there's been private meetings that we aren't privy to and that have not been reported yet. I'll ask you a dumb question because I mean, you've been at that ballpark far more than I have the last couple of years, but in the last 3 to 4 weeks, has there been any sort of strong leadership message from either Joe Polad or Derek Falvey about the future direction of the franchise that tells the media, the fans, and I'm not talking like these dumb Chat GPT written platitudes that come out in the to season ticket holders, I mean, has anyone come out and said, I know this is really bad the last couple of years, and I know that we've lost a lot of games, and we traded a lot of players, and we cut a lot of payroll, but this is what we are as a team. These are our, there's been nothing like that, right? So if you're Royce and anybody in that clubhouse, you don't know what's happening. They just traded 40% of the team, and now they're talking about right-sizing the business. They just cut all of their remaining pro scouts, which is okay, that's in line with where baseball's kind of going, but cut, trade, lose, save money. Okay, what are we doing here? What are we building here? I would want to know that if I'm Royce Lewis, Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, or a fan trying to decide if I should buy season tickets or renew my season tickets.
But if you're Royce, okay, right now you're cheap. You are, or you were, the future of the franchise. And for you to even speculate on you might not be back, to me, you're right. This goes all back on the team. Look, do I think that Royce Lewis is the most mature dude out there? No, he's young. But do I think that this kid who is inexpensive, who should be a cornerstone, his name should be written in ink on the whiteboard, this is our third baseman for the next 10 years. Hopefully we get to pay him. And he's questioning, it's one thing if a veteran, right? Frustrated, long season, we've seen it before, starts to talk and question his future there. Hey, it happens all the time. Bad seasons happen. But and that's the problem. It goes beyond a bad season. It's complete dysfunction. They have no plan, at least that they've shared. And quite frankly, I would like them to share it so we can possibly say, no, that's a bad plan. We'll help you out. But you've got this future cornerstone piece basically saying, I don't know what's going on here. How does this happen? If nothing else, the Twins should be, they're not, but the Twins should be the adults in the room, right? If Royce Lewis has insecurity problems, cockiness problems, confidence problems, maturation problems. It's your job to try to help him out. Not to have him basically going rogue and telling a bunch of writers, I don't know, I might be gone. You never know. I saw that and I'm like, the frustration already so high just continues to grow. Like, we're begging the Twins, give us something to sink our teeth into.
Yeah.
We love baseball.
So to piggyback off that, my least favorite thing is you have between Royce Lewis, who's 26 years old. He's not 21 anymore. He's 26 years old, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's not that young. Yeah.
Between him, Brooks Lee, who's 24 years old and played he's played the entire season for the most part after getting a cup of coffee and some shots last year. And Matt Wallner, who was a first-round pick in 2019. So this is like a large chunk of your first-round talent on the hitter side going back the last handful of years. And Matt Wallner's 27. Those guys have combined this season, according to Baseball Reference, to be worth 0.5 wins above replacement. 3 first-round picks. And I want to know why. How? And I think what they would say is, the Twins, they would probably deflect and say, listen, we give these guys tools. These guys have come up through our development system. They've got all the information, all the tools. Maybe health has been a little bit of an issue for Royce specifically. But it's on them. They're professional baseball players. It's on them. And obviously, some of it's going to be on the guy holding the bat. But how are those three? Those are 3 guys that ideally should be, they're making no money because they're not anywhere near free agency, that you should be building the next iteration of winning Twins baseball around. And they are collectively break-even replacement level players. And when I say replacement level, think like Matt Tolbert coming up 10, 15 years ago. Just kind of like a random guy from AAA that you could just replace him with any name. That's not what those 3 guys were drafted and developed to be. And all 3 of those guys have also shown flashes at their best, either over the course of a season or a month or two, where they are much, much more than that. I mean, yesterday, Brooks Lee and Royce Lewis both had major pops offensively. Yes, so you see the flashes of it. But those 3 guys specifically are a test case in how and why are they break-even replacement level players. Because if they are, you're not fixing that. You're not fixing that dearth in production through free agency. Oh, well, we whiffed on those 3 guys. Whether it's our fault or their fault, we'll just go outspend the mistake by getting someone for $30 million. Like, you need those guys to pan out, or you're not winning any games of importance. So that's my least favorite thing.
Well, yeah. And look, it's why you have to make a change of some sort too, because I think it's fair to say this. And Royce's comments sort of indicate this, and then statistically, what you just brought up also backs this up. Your culture stinks. Your culture stinks. Guys aren't developing, yes, because they're fundamentally probably not being helped enough, but they're also not developing because there's no passion here. They traded away 10 guys. Wallner, a guy like that, it's just, you can tell. And I guess I don't blame players totally, but like the past month is just a death march. And where is your culture? And that actually leads to my favorite thing perfectly, which is this. I love the fact that for the past 4 games, and the Twins did one on Sunday. I love the fact that for the past 4 games, though, your last 4 games of a miserable regular season at home, that the Cleveland Guardians, from whence your grand master operator of baseball operations, Derek Falvey, came, the grand poobah, right? And you were like, yeah, okay, we got the secret sauce. We got Cleveland sauce now. And what's happened is they lost 3 of 4. Cleveland, up until Sunday, had won 10 consecutive. I believe you said this at the top of the show. If Cleveland had won on Sunday, Detroit lost again, they would have been tied with the Tigers atop the American League Central. And go and look at the Guardians' payroll. It's less than yours. I'll give you that. Go and look at the Guardians' offensive production. It's almost nil. They've got a couple of guys. I mean, Jose Ramirez is fantastic. But look at their overall production and then look at the pitching. and it's always the pitching here.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that the poll ads, and I don't even know if they understand what they're watching right now, but I love the fact that the Guardians came in and basically showed you, oh, you thought you were just going to take one guy, huh? And you were going to figure it out. And then you look at what Cleveland has done time and time again. And by the way, they are without their closer, who might be suspended for life. Like Clase might be done. They've been without their closer. Somebody went into the Cleveland clubhouse, baseball did, and took away 2 players, including one absolutely key guy, and said, he's done. Their lockers are gone. There's nothing recognizing them. And the players are like, oh, okay, not good. They were 15 and a half games back on July 8th. And they now could tie. They've got a 3-game series after they're off today, coming up with the Tigers. They could tie or pass them. And you look at the Twins, right? And look at the Twins pitching. Hey, who have they developed? Who have they developed? Joe Ryan, great trade. But who have they really developed? Bailey Ober, almost unpitchable now. Like, you don't know. And you don't know. My guess is he starts the season in the rotation, but he's a huge question mark, right? All of these things that Falvey was going to bring from Cleveland, they were going to steal from Cleveland. And the Guardians came in and schooled you on Guardians baseball and showed you once again just how far away you are from being them.
Yeah, and the Twins also, it's become a trend most of the last few seasons where they just like stop caring. They stop, and maybe there's a different explanation. I mean, this year their talent level is not what it would have been before the trades, and their bullpen, by their own doing, post-trade deadline, is not a major league bullpen. I mean, you're just running out random waiver claims and guys who do not belong on a major league pitching staff just to fill out your 26-man roster. But just the incredible lack of fight and success in 2022, 24, and 25 in August and September, it goes beyond. It's not. If you were watching and saying, "Boy, they're just," like the White Sox. Yeah, they're not very good, but they're pretty. They try hard at least, and they're building something that might pop in a year or two. It just feels like the Twins, starting in the middle of August in 3 of the last 4 years, just are waiting for the season to be over so they can go somewhere, their off-season vacation homes or whatever.
Yep. You're
right. Something cultural is off. Something cultural feels impersonal with this organization. And I'm wondering, I think Royce is right. I think Rocco and the staff are going to be the scapegoats here. And it'll be then an interesting exercise in how much of this failure is Falvey and the front office providing great infrastructure and talent to a manager and a field staff that are botching it in some way. But I feel like, and I'm not saying that Rocco and the field staff aren't the problem. I do think there's a problem there. Clearly, There's a cultural problem there.
Yep.
But I don't think it stops there. I don't think you just have had the wrong field staff and manager, and now you're going to plug the right one in, and this is going to go on to 90-win season after 90-win season like the early 2000s.
How do you? So let's just start this by dissecting starting pitching. Okay. Sonny Gray leaves. That's a big blow. But you know when it's not a huge blow? When you can replace him with a young pitcher who you've drafted and developed. Pablo Lopez goes out. That sucks. That's really hard. He's really good. But you know what softens the blow? When you have a starter. David Festa, for instance, has emerged as a top-line guy. And by the way, you don't have to wait. It's not like QBs. You don't have to wait. Well, the older they get, the better, right?
Yeah.
David Festa emerges and takes Pablo's place, and he's pitching right now, and he's pitching lights out, and all of a sudden you didn't trade 10 guys because you had built up a pitching staff, and you didn't trade your bullpen away because your starting staff, I feel like we were promised, okay, this is where you operate between the margins. People are mad that the Twins are cheap because the Twins don't get enough quality young talent. And what they do, to your point, they might screw it up. Like Sonny Gray walking out the door could be an afterthought by now if the guy that had replaced Gray had been a drafted, homegrown guy.
Yeah.
Zebby Matthews is shoving. It's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about Sonny Gray.
And then you can tell, because that's kind of what happened in the early 2000s when they were even cheaper because they didn't have the new stadium and they were always just like bottom feeding payroll. and they would, somebody would walk, Torrey Hunter would walk or whatever it may be, or Johan would walk, and it'd be like, well, we got Liriano, Scotty Baker, like we're still gonna. They won a bunch of games still after Johan left. They won divisions after Johan left, after Torrey left, because they had other talent. Denard Span then jumps in and is an awesome player for like 2 or 3 years and on base machine, etc. And so they could kind of tell people, the prime Terry Ryan front offices, hey, listen, like I know you're pissed that we're not spending the way that we probably should, and you're pissed that Johan left, but we got a pipeline here, and we're going to trust that pipeline and development. That is not the case with the current iteration of the Twins.
No.
So, and fans have noticed, which brings me to my favorite current Twins thing. Yeah. In a moment here. Shout out to our Running Aces before we get to this here. Running Aces is such a fun spot. I had been estranged from Running Aces for a little bit there because I used to play a ton of poker back in the day, and they offer some great poker games. They just underwent estranged, meaning like I just hadn't been there in a while. It's been an awesome place the entire time.
I was going to say, was there a falling out?
No, we didn't have like a falling out. I just hadn't been there in a while until we did our Purple Daily Unplugged event a few weeks ago, and they've underwent a multi-million-dollar renovation. Such a cool spot to, whether it's watch a game or play blackjack and table games, poker. Bingo returns tomorrow, 6:30 p.m., $2 Coors Lights, $1 hot dogs available. BuzzFeed trivia on Thursdays. Music trivia on Fridays. There's always something fun happening at Running Aces, 35 just north edge of the Twin Cities, massive parking lot hotel. Not your typical casino scene. We're talking about smoke-free, bright, energy-filled, and a ton of fun upcoming things. So go to runaces.com to find out more information. That's runaces.com. And North American Banking Company helping to present the Score North Twins show today. They can give you a better banking experience, whether it's checking and savings or whether it is something bigger like you're looking to buy a home or launch a new business. And how's this? You can actually build a personal relationship with real humans at your bank. It's Minnesota-based since 1998 with 6 locations in the metro area. Cutting-edge online tools as well that just magnify the safety and security of your accounts. You can find out more at nabankco.com/Mackey. That's nabankco.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Baseball. So they did it, Judd. They finally did it. That was the 81st and final. Was it 8? They get 81, whatever it was. It was the final home game yesterday.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the Twins officially, fans have spoken, man. If you're mad about the product, the best thing you can do is speak with your actions. Mm-hmm. And with yesterday's game, the Twins wind up with, if my math is right here, and if the internet's right, 1,700,068 for attendance this year, which makes it the lowest attended season at either Target Field or the Metrodome since the year 2000. I want to make sure that like the final tally comes across before we officially get there, because it was kind of close cutting it with the 2001 Twins, who came out of a dark stretch of like 6 or 7 years. They were very good, but fans didn't catch on until maybe the second half of the year. But what do you make of that? That they and again, we'll wait for the final tally. But if the math is right here, it is the lowest attended season since the year 2000 at the Metrodome.
Well, I think given how things are trending, you ain't seen nothing yet. 2026 could be worse.
Hell, I don't want to say his name, but like one of our close coworkers told us last week, or told me, that him and his dad have had season tickets for 16 years. And a couple weeks ago, they called and said, I can't do it anymore. We just can't. We don't want to support this ownership group and what's happened the last 2 years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. So
Not Declan. I'm not sure. He did that 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, he bailed out. He had he had like a 20-game package, and then he dropped it, and it became this huge deal. No, brace yourself. Like, there is nothing, unless there is something around the bend that we don't see coming. Because keep in mind, the second half of the season, what were once called walk-up sales, which basically mean game day purchases, probably went in the toilet, right?
Yeah.
Think about this for a second. if you recall back to the spring, this team had expectations. So my guess is that the advance sales on tickets weren't terrible. Like there were expectations here. This did not start off as like the Pohlads were going to sell the team. There was in the winter last year, there was that it might be sold by opening day. How great is this going to be?
Yeah.
So there was reason for people to purchase tickets going into the season. Now, I think as the season continued on, we saw them not show up. But what is your season ticket base going to be? 5,000? I mean, it's going to be 6,000. It's not going to be very much. Probably more importantly, too, what hurts, I think, teams just as much or more than fans speaking are corporations speaking.
Yeah.
If you're a corporation, if you are running a major corporation, and I mean, dollars are tight, right? You've got the Wolves, who don't play in a great arena, but are right now a great product. You've got, of course, the Vikings, who are the 10,000-pound gorilla. You've got the Wild, who I don't think is that exciting. If Kaprizov leaves, but at the end of the day, the Wild's in a nice building, right? Like, okay,
Although, there's some rumblings that they might want a little facelift or a new building.
That's true. That's true. They do want to. Oh, they're not rumblings. They want a facelift. But the point is, if you're in charge of a corporation and you are saying, okay, we can afford a suite or a bunch of tickets to a couple teams, Twins ain't going to be on that list now, man.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of wild that they're going to go from having a season. What was the season ticket base back in 2000? The first year of the stadium. It's like 30,000.
Oh, it had to be around 30,000. And I mean, I had a 20-game package for like the first 4 years.
Yeah.
And they counted those. And I remember because I called up and I said, "Can I pick my 20 games?" They're like, "Absolutely not. We are jam-packed full. We will decide your 20 games." And now it's like they'd probably give me 20 games.
Yeah. So they're definitely below 10,000 now because they had a game early in the season where they drew 10,200 fans. So unless that was 100% season ticket base, which there's no way because people do buy individual tickets, that they're going to wind up, let's say it's somewhere between 5,000 and 9,000 for a season ticket base from 30,000 back in 2010. That's the erosion of this brand with the fan base. It's crazy, dude.
I would guess that the only team with a stadium in recent eras or the recent era that rivals it is Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh built that ballpark. I guess it's beautiful. And basically it has put out a crap product now for the most part of the last 10 years?
I mean, you could argue the better part of 30 years.
Well, they got competitive for a little while. I think they made a wild card, the one-game playoff. But the fact is, like, of the teams that were supposed to get the new ballpark pop, and it was supposed to continue because those teams were going to be competitive now, because they did tell you, hey, if we build a ballpark, you watch out, we're going to be competitive. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, too, because the Twins 2010 was still fun. 11 turned sour. And then they sort of got the Pohlads. Here's what I don't get, Phil. The Pohlads sort of got a taste there of, okay, this is what it's like when it goes bad, but you still got the ballpark. So you're going to be okay. You're not going to be great, but you're going to be okay. And you would have thought the Pohlads would have been like, okay, we ain't doing that again. Like, we'll spend on the product just to make sure that we don't do that. How do you plan to make money now?
Yeah, this is kind of a to be continued because we'll have other shows this week. I think Trevor Plouffe Tuesday is coming back tomorrow. He's been traveling, John Boy stuff. But there is like if you want to get fans back in the mix, what needs to happen between now and opening day? And you don't get a playoff run that was the crazy thing, because fan interest was waning a little after the 2022 collapse. And, post COVID, it was kind of hard to get people back in. And then they started kind of slow in 2023, but they had the super PAC, the turbo pack of winning a playoff series in 2023. And of course, they immediately fumbled that momentum with like public comments by the owner and cutting, Sonny Gray, whatever. But you don't get that. You are going to stumble your way into the offseason here with as little fanfare and excitement and more anger than ever. What are levers that you could pull between now and opening day? Not to get it all back, because that's virtually impossible with the Pohlad group at this point. But what are some things you could do? I think that's a fun discussion maybe for Trevor tomorrow and later on this week.
They have so well, and I think that Trev has made his point clear, which is you bring in a guy like Torrey, you bring in because who are you going to obtain, for instance? What are you going to do? And we've seen it. You can go out and sign Carlos Correa, but guess what? If you don't put out a good product, like they were getting almost no pop from him by now. Yeah. So it's, boy, the Pullheads have often, in my opinion, put on what I would consider to be very interesting college classes of what not to do.
Yep.
From sports marketing standpoint.
By the way, the Colorado Rockies, who are going to lose like 118 games, are averaging 30,000 fans per game.
Yeah, you know why?
In downtown Denver.
Because they get that beer, those specials going. The Twins are like Friday nights we got a beer special. You don't need a beer special on Friday night. You need a beer special for 81 home games. And by the way, it should be good beer. And yeah, the Twins are just, boy, it would be so fun to help them.
I think we do every day on this show. The Score
It would be so fun to help. Well, it'd be fun if I thought that they watched. I know the Vikings watch us because they adopt way too many of our ideas not to.
They do.
We're
basically on the coaching staff.
On the Twins, I'm not so sure.
All right, for Baby Sonny Goff, for Dex, for the Sports Dad Judd, I am Phil, and we did it, everyone. The lowest attendance in the history of Target Field. The fans have spoken. We'll see you guys.
Amen.
We'll see you guys tomorrow, I think, with a little Trevor Plouffe Tuesday on the Score North Twin Show.